speak. I am powerful.
I am powerful.
Louder. I am powerful.
I am powerful.
I am powerful.
I am powerful.
Oh, hello. Welcome to the podcast. Today we have a special guest. If you want to get away, this is the gentleman to talk to. Ralph, tell the people about yourself.
Hi there. My name's Ralph Velasco, and I'm a Chicago-based professional travel photographer. And since 2008, I've been organizing and leading international tours around the world, everywhere from Antarctica to Asia, all over Europe, Cuba. So quite a few trips, all 5-star rated over the years, but they are more about cultural tours. So it's about the people, learning about the people. We do a lot of wine tasting, and I like to incorporate the local foods into my trips because I go to some of the best food cultures in the world. So really great small groups of anywhere from 6 to 10 people. So I just love sharing the world with my friends and clients.
Nice traveling. Now, I'm not the traveling type, so I have a lot of questions. So this is perfect. I have questions.
Right.
But to start off with, so you went from photography to traveling. How did that happen? Like, why did, I'm pretty sure you still do photography, but why that shift?
Yeah. So, with the dawn of digital photography back in the early 2000s, I would say the consumer digital photography, everyone was starting to get these new digital devices. Their 1 megapixel Kodak Easy Share camera. At least that was my first one 25 years ago. But I saw an opportunity to teach people how to use these new digital devices, and I thought it would be great to do it in a beautiful place. So I had just moved back to Southern California at that time, sold my second restaurant, and I saw a market for that, and really just started out sitting across the kitchen table from someone, going over their camera from top to bottom, teaching them how to use all the buttons and dials. And then we'd go out in the local area and photograph. And so that's, kind of how it started. But then now everyone's some sort of a photographer because we've got these,
Yes,
right? We've got these, these cameras are in our pockets all the time, and they're high quality, and they do a lot of stuff from video, slow motion, time lapses. It's just an incredibly powerful device. So I've kind of backed off on the photography part of it and made it more cultural. But of course, I'm always there to help people if they have questions.
Wow, that really sounds cool. So cultural. So you immerse these people into that environment wherever they are. Antarctica. I want to know about that. How is that? How is that trip? I don't know. I can't even imagine going to Antarctica.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
I went there for the first time last year, and I was blown away. It's so incredible. You really know that you are on the bottom of the earth or in some very remote place. I just had a group of people get back yesterday as we record this from Antarctica. But it's, when I was down there, the thing that really struck me was the silence and the fact that, man, you are off the beaten path. There's no airplane contrails or fences or, TV towers or anything. It's just natural beauty and the wildlife. So it was outstanding.
Man, I can't even imagine. So it's really so that's a very peaceful place to go. So what do you guys do? So let's say you take someone there. How do you immerse them in that culture?
Well, there's not really a culture down in Antarctica. It's one of the few places, I think maybe the only place where there is no indigenous people. Wow. People never live down there. Now there are research stations. There's a treaty, so no one really owns Antarctica. We kind of share it, I suppose. And so down there, we're on the smallest ship in the industry, only 67 passengers. Many ships are hundreds or even thousands of people. And the treaty down there says that only a maximum of 100 people can get off at any one landing. So, yeah, so our ship could get off, the whole ship, where other ships may have to do it in stages or not get off at all. So really, it was really wonderful to be on that smaller ship, but it's a proper icebreaker from what do you call Greenland. So
I don't know if I can do that, man.
Yeah,
that's a little scary to me. That's
and then we fly down. We actually fly down. We don't take the Drake Passage. We don't sail the Drake Passage from the southern tip of South America to Antarctica. We actually fly. So it saves us 2.5 days each way of the notoriously rough Drake Passage. And we fly down on a proper airplane, and it's just really
Is it scary though? Is it scary being there, like knowing that you're so like away from, I mean, what we're used to? I have a hospital in the corner of my house. I have a, like, is that scary or?
That's a great question. And, the ship is sort of its own ecosystem. So it has a doctor and sort of its version of a hospital. And so it's very well prepared should there be any emergencies. And plus it's very well connected with other ships and, things in the area should there be any kind of a problem. Actually, quick story. I had one of the clients on my last trip. It was his second attempt to get down to Antarctica because on his first attempt, someone actually died.
No.
So they were sailing down from the tip of South America to the continent and must have hit a rogue wave, and the man got slammed against the side of the wall, in the hallway of the ship or something, and got a head injury. So they had to cancel the whole trip. So, it can get rough down there, and but
I imagine
it's a beautiful place. Beautiful.
It must be. Now the treaty. That treaty is that that's what you see all this conspiracy. I've seen a lot of videos. Not to touch on that, but that's the treaty you're speaking about, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you've seen,
you said there's a wall. Have you seen a wall down there? An ice wall? Don't answer that. It's just a joke because they talk about that a lot. Why do they have that treaty though? Do you know what's the purpose of it?
I think that the idea behind it is that no one can claim Antarctica, and all its resources and everything. So we all share it.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's an understanding that it's meant to be a more of a research and educational place than for everyone just to go down there and start ripping it of resources and things like that.
Wow. So it's like the last piece of land. There must be a lot of resources down there. I'm pretty sure.
I gotta think there are. Yeah.
I hope they leave it like that. Okay. So what other destinations that are wild like that you can share with us?
Sure. Well, I just introduced a safari to Tanzania and Zanzibar.
You mean a real safari? Like for real? Like
yeah. Oh yeah. With big 5 animals, and we're going to go to Zanzibar, which is an island off the coast of Tanzania. It's part of the country, but that's where Freddie Mercury was born, the lead singer of Queen. So we go visit his house, and
that's part of the trip.
Yeah, the big 5 and beach vibes, we call it. So that's going to be really cool. And I do all over Europe: Spain, Portugal, Italy, France. I've got Cuba's my most popular trip. I've done Cuba. I'm actually leaving this coming Saturday for my 20th trip down there. And these are to Cuba. Yeah. And these are fully licensed trips by the U.S. government. So they're sanctioned to be down in Cuba because, as you may know, we have an embargo with Cuba. So you can't just fly down there like most other countries. So American citizens have to go through a company sort of, like mine that has the ability to go down there legally. So that's coming up. That's a wonderful trip. We go to Finnish and Swedish Lapland, which is in the northern Scandinavia. We're also going to go to Norway. So we'll do dog sledding and ice fishing. And the main thing is we're going to search for the northern lights up there. They're saying that this is one of the best seasons they've seen for being able to visualize the northern lights. So I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, and then another little bit off the beaten path place that I go to is perhaps you've heard of the Republic of Georgia and Armenia. Yeah. Those are in the Caucasus region and absolutely beautiful places. And so I like to go to somewhat off the beaten path locations where not everyone else is going to. We're doing a lot more slow travel as opposed to trying to see everything in, a single trip. We do a deep dive. I call it travel deep, not wide.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And so you've been to all this, of course, you've been to all these places. How many places you think you've been to? Like
countries, I don't know. That's kind of what everyone counts as countries, but probably in the 70s. I stopped counting a while ago, but
no way.
Yeah, because of my job, I get to go to these places over and over again. So, like I said, I've been to Cuba 20 times and Morocco 7 or 8, Romania 7 or 8. So I go to places over and over again. So it's by a lot of standards, it's not a lot of countries, but
it's a lot of places.
70
is a lot of countries.
Yeah.
Have you always? Let me ask you this: have you always wanted to do something like this? Was it always your dream, like to travel the world like this? Is that where this comes from?
Yeah. Since I was in high school, I've been a traveler. I studied in Spain for a summer when I was 15, and when I was 16, I spent a summer in Peru as a volunteer. The next summer, I spent 2.5 months in Venezuela as a volunteer. And the next summer, I studied in Mexico City. So from a very young age, I'd been traveling overseas, without the family and parents and stuff. And so I was just hooked from day one. And, but I always say it only took me 45 years to figure out what I wanted to do with my life.
Hey, but you got it. That's what matters, right?
Right. But, so at 45, I figured out how to make a living from photography and travel. And that's what I'm doing now. So I've been doing this for 16 years.
I think that's amazing. And that's what, that's what entrepreneurism does. It allows you to like go after your dream and figure out how to make an economy for yourself out of it. So that's like pretty cool. So what would you tell an entrepreneur that is at, like you said, at 45, that is like just thinking, I don't like what I want to do something different. Yeah. And what would you tell them to start getting them going?
Number one, it's never too late. I mean, there are entrepreneurs that started in their 60s, 70s, probably even 80s, I'm sure. And so it's never too late. And one tip for what I was doing was teaching people how to use those new digital devices, teaching them how to see and visualize good photo opportunities. Almost any kind of thing that you want to, a business that you'd like to get into could benefit from teaching at your local community college. What I did when I really started this business back in, I was living in Southern California, Newport Beach. You get these quarterly magazines that tell you all the, adult yoga and photography and painting, you name it, there's adult education. And the teachers don't need a teaching degree to teach those courses. So what I did is I said, this could be a great way to test my business. So I could try to create these courses teaching people how to use their devices, see if there's a market. So for just about any business, you could probably create some sort of a course, perhaps using ChatGPT to give you the outline, right? Yeah, to give you an outline of, hey, chat, give me an outline for creating a course on photography or whatever it is. It'll give you an outline, and then you create a course around that, and you could test your idea. And that's what I did. And plus, it helped me to start to build my following. Those people were specifically interested in photography and travel. And so some of those people began traveling with me and still do till this day.
No way. That's actually some really great advice, and something that is pretty cool about you. That was, I mean, the pivot in what you were doing. You know, sometimes we get stuck on what, you know, if an idea is failing, we get stuck there. How did you pivot that way?
Yeah. So when I really pivoted, so I had I mentioned my second restaurant. I was living in Chicago, early 2000s, and this is when I say the dawn of digital photography sort of happened in my mind. People were starting to learn about these new cameras, and this was a thing. So I saw that opportunity. I was coming up to the end of my initial 3-year lease on my restaurant, and I had to decide, was I going to sign for another 5 years and continue the restaurant, or was I going to do something else, sell the place, walk away? So I decided to sell it. I found a buyer. They bought me out. And then that's when I said, okay, I'm going to move from Chicago to Southern California, where I could do this kind of an outdoor business year round and be in a beautiful place that has all these opportunities for photography and things like that. And that's what I ended up doing. So before I moved out there, and I got a friend of mine lived out in Southern California. He was a financial advisor, had his own brokerage. He says, why don't you get your Series 7 license, become a financial advisor, and work with me.
Too?
So I got my financial services Series 7 license, which was very difficult. And in the meantime, I was teaching these courses on the weekend and at night. And I was starting to build this side business. And then that was 2005 to 2008. And in September of 2008, you probably recall, we had the financial crisis.
Yes, sir.
Well, here I am, a brand new financial advisor.
I didn't. Yeah,
Barely eking a living. And the world falls out from under that profession. So it was the best thing that ever happened to me, though, because I didn't like that at all. I didn't care for that business, and I was moving towards this. So it was the kick in the pants that I needed to go full time with this. And I burned all the bridges, and I said, I'm going to make this happen.
Sure, I can't come back. I ain't going back there.
That's
wow,
right.
so you adapt very well. I mean, that's a lot of adaptation. I think that's pretty cool. What kind of mindset do you have to be that way? Because that's one of the difficulties that people face.
Yeah, I mean, being an entrepreneur, I think we're all built that way, that we tend, we tend to adapt. You should be able to adapt if if you're going to be an entrepreneur, because there's going to be a lot of changes. But the other thing is that I'm single. I've never been married. I don't have children. I just don't have the responsibility of someone who's got a family and kids to put to school and everything else. So it's a lot easier, I'll be honest, to be a single entrepreneur when it's only yourself that you have to worry about. It's not like your family is going to be put out on the street because an idea you had didn't work out. Where for me, I'll be okay.
Can take that risk. I think it's still pretty commendable the way you're able to shift, and it kind of feels, the way you're telling it feels like it's all the same business. It's just evolved into whatever the market is telling you to go. Like when the crash happened, you said, "Oh, we have to ship now." So
right.
What are some do's and don'ts about traveling that you can share with people? Because I know I hear that a lot whenever I hear traveling channels, do's and don'ts, which I'm pretty sure means, the things you should be doing and the things you shouldn't be doing. What is something that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, I like those kinds of videos or blog posts that have those kinds of things where, people want to help spread the word about different maybe traditions or customs around the world, things that you should do and not do in certain places. I always like to learn from those things. I think they're very important to know what to do and not to do in certain places. I think it's in Thailand that you're not supposed to point the bottom of your feet at someone.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So you could get in. You could get in trouble by. Not
It's
in
a,
trouble, but
yeah, it would be considered bad form, you know.
dude, so you could be sitting there and people are mad at you. And you're like, what am I
Yeah,
doing?
exactly. You don't know why. So you could be, maybe sitting there with your leg over, with your one of your legs over the other one, and so your shoes sort of pointing
Yeah,
to the room, and that would be considered bad form
offensive.
in
Yeah.
some countries.
Ah,
Doing the thumbs up is bad form in some countries. So learning those kinds of things can get you out of some, sticky situations.
no.
And they're usually harmless. The people there, they figure you're not a local, maybe you don't know.
Like they
So
can see it. They see,
yeah,
here's another tourist.
yeah, exactly. So they're not going to get too mad probably, but there are some situations. So yeah, I do like that. But let's see. One thing that I've really enjoyed as I get older and continue traveling and have been for many, many years is learning from other people. And to me, that's the best part of travel is being able to be exposed to many, many different cultures around the world, none of which is better than the other necessarily. It's just different. And we can all learn from each other,
Sure.
take the best from each place. And that's what I try to do. I'm not trying to change them with my point of view. They're probably not changing me with their point of view, but we're all learning a little bit from each other. And hopefully we're all improving and taking the best of each other's
I like
cultures.
that.
And so, to me, that's the best part of travel is meeting the people, and food, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, of course, right? We,
Get into eat
that,
food.
that's one thing that we all share is, the
Right.
need for food 3 times a day, typically. And so to be able to share food and learn about the food in a place, and coming from a restaurant background, I'm very into food and how it relates to travel and people and culture, family. So I try to make food a big part of my trips. We'll do even wine tastings, which I would consider along the lines of food, wine tasting, olive oil tasting, caviar tasting. We
Ooh.
do market walks, food cooking demonstrations and classes, learning how they
Mm.
buy things, prepare them, eat them differently than we do. So, you go to Asia and there's fruits and vegetables and who knows what else that you probably haven't seen. I know I hadn't.
Pretty sure.
And
I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
So
so
that's, I mean, I think that's a good point. And that brings a question. So you've been through all these places, right? A lot of cultures, a lot of different things. What when you look at the whole picture, do you feel like we are more alike, or do you see a lot of differences when
oh,
when you look at the whole picture?
100% more alike,
Yeah.
and there's just small percentages of difference, in ways of thinking, religion, who knows what else. But yeah, so we're 100% the same, but then we've got these tiny little nuances that changes our views
Got it.
in my mind. That's the way I look at it.
Now, is there a story about a trip you took once that was that like was either dangerous or wild or something that you can remember?
Yeah, yeah. One funny story that happened is I was arriving into Tbilisi, Georgia, the country of Georgia, over in the Caucasus region where we were talking about Armenia, Russia, Turkey is all over in that region. So I'm flying in for the first time. I'm going to meet my local tour operator, who is the person that I work with to put together the trip. So I typically will go there a year in advance of when I want to arrange the trip. I'll meet with a local tour operator. They'll show me around, do everything. And then I put the trip together with them and we agree on dates and itinerary, everything else. And then I sell it to my clients or, propose it to my clients. So I'm getting there the first day. She picks me up at the airport. We're driving to my hotel And I could tell she's a little bit cautious, a young woman, just, probably in her early 30s or something. And she's a little bit cautious driving, and Tbilisi is not the best place to drive. There's a lot of, little strange driving there. But anyway, to make a long story longer, I could tell she
I like that. You caught me off guard with that one. Sorry.
Yeah. So so I could tell she's hesitating, and she goes, "Oh, Ralph, don't worry. Tomorrow when we go out touring, my dad's going to drive us around. So you don't have to worry."
She said, "Don't worry."
Yeah, this way I could talk to you and
got it.
And things like that. And so I said, "Okay, great." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, thank God." So then the next day, her dad shows up with her, and he's worse. He's even a worse driver. And oh my God, I don't know how to explain it, but imagine this. He would slow down to pass people, and he would speed up if someone was passing him. Just, imagine that. So that kind of, driver, just defensive and nice man, very nice man, but, just trepidation. So I kind of had I hope she never hears this, but I fibbed to her about the next day. I said, I don't know if I wasn't feeling well, or I said, I just want to do local things, but I did not want to drive with them again for a full day. So I made an excuse. Yeah, I made an excuse. So then they were going to drive me at the end of my trip to Georgia. They were going to drive me to the border. I was going to cross over and meet my Armenian guides, which is they butt up against each other, the countries. So they drive me to the border, and I'm thinking, oh God, I can't wait to get out of this car. And so she says, "Ralph, here's the border. You go through. We'll wait here 10 or 15 minutes. If something happens, we'll be here." Oh, that's nice. So
what does that mean if something happens?
Yeah, if you have a problem, we'll be here just in case. Things happen at borders. So, I'm going to tell you one in a second. So I get up to the immigration officer. I slide my passport across the desk. The guy looks at it and he says, "Do you have a visa for Azerbaijan?" I said, "Azerbaijan? I'm going to Armenia." Now, Azerbaijan is the other country right there. Well, they took me to the Azerbaijani border, not the Armenian border. There was no signs, no flags, no nothing. I had no idea. Of course, I assumed they would know where the border was.
Of course, that's why.
Right? That's why I hired them. So the guy says, "Sorry, you don't have a visa for for Azerbaijan." I said, I thought this was Armenian border. No, this is Azerbaijan. And it wasn't like a double border or anything. So thank God they waited for me. Get out there, and they're waiting. I said, "Guys, this is the Azerbaijani border." Says, "Oh my God." Yeah.
Oops.
I know, oops. So here, I'm thinking I'm done with these folks. I don't have to drive anymore. Now they have to drive me 45 minutes to the Armenian border.
That is nuts. They took you to a whole other country.
So thank God that Azerbaijan requires a visa. Otherwise, I might have gotten through, and then I can't get out again. Oh my God. So,
that would have been. Oh my God, that would have been.
That would have been the ultimate.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. But that would have been one of those situations. Where am I? And you can't yet, and you can't come back. Oh my goodness. Okay.
I'm sorry.
But why do they? Okay, so they weren't good drivers or good directions, like none of that. So, all right. So, anything else? You said you had another story about something, a ruckus happening in a border. You said things don't go right.
Well, that was it.
That was
I mean, that didn't go very well.
So let me ask you something. Did you ever hire them again?
Yeah. No, she was great. And I definitely worked with her, and we still laugh about it till this day.
Wow, they took you to a whole nother country. That is a story to tell. So so you said Cuba is that, I think you mentioned that was the best destination for you. right?
Well,
Or
it's the most popular destination I've been to. It's one of my favorite countries. I love it. The
but
people are
which is the
wonderful.
favorite? Like if you had to choose one to go over and over to, or the last time you can go to, which one would it be?
Gosh, if I had to choose one final country that I wanted to be forever, it would probably be Spain. I speak Spanish. My background is from Spain. My last name is Spanish. And so I have a cultural affinity for it. I don't have any family there that I know of, but I speak the language. It was the first country I went to when I told you when I was 15. So I've got a long history with Spain. It's absolutely fabulous. The food, people, culture, architecture, everything, history. So that would be Spain. I also love the Republic of Georgia I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Beautiful place, great food. Cambodia is another wonderful country that's somewhat off the beaten path. That's people don't often consider, but I think it's a fantastic place.
Out of all of those places, why is Cuba so popular? I'm just curious, because
people can't go there unless they go with someone like myself. That's one
it's an
part.
adventure within itself that you're
Yeah.
going somewhere. Oh,
Yeah,
I
you're
get it.
going somewhere a little taboo.
Got it.
Plus, it's so close. It's 45 minutes from from the U.S. border, so it's really convenient. And I have a presentation that I call Cuba 90 miles to another world, because it's 90 miles away from us, but it's another world.
It's a totally different world, huh?
Yeah.
What are the biggest differences that you see? Well, besides the government, but you know what I mean? Like what shows you, yep, we're in a different world.
Yeah, mostly it's the political side of it. So the embargo has had an effect. It hasn't worked after 60 some years, but it's had an effect. So you go down there, and unfortunately, the people are in not a great state. They have a wonderful disposition, and they've got a great attitude, and they're said to be some of the most pro-American people in the whole region, pro-U.S., because we're all Americans in this hemisphere, but the most pro-U.S. country in the whole, in all of Latin America.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but you go there, and what people want to see is the old cars, the old architecture. It's like in a time warp to some degree. There's very modern hotels these days that have just popped up, in the past 5 or 7 years. But, you do have this beautiful old architecture with, it's not freshly painted. It's crumbling. The old cars, you really feel like you're walking back in time.
Sounds cool.
And the people are wonderful. The food's getting a lot better. It used to be one of the worst things about going to Cuba was the food.
Really?
Yeah. They say that
That's surprising.
the 3 things they lost in the Cuban Revolution was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But it's gotten better. They just can't get the ingredients. They don't have.
Oh, right, because
they had, because we've got the embargo, so they can't bring things in.
People are suffering. I don't know. I don't get all that stuff, but yeah, it's the people that are suffering, right? Unfortunately. For sure. And what would you say is the most beautiful? I know you got to be careful. You don't want to offend nobody, but what is the most beautiful scenery wise that you've been to?
Yeah. Well, certainly Antarctica. I just love glaciers and icebergs and the wild mountains and things like that. But also Norway, the fjords of Norway is one of the most beautiful places. I haven't been there in a long, long time, but I'm going next month. And then Romania, the northern part of Romania is stunningly beautiful.
I said one. You're like, it's hard to choose. I'm pretty sure.
It's hard. Oh, yeah. It just goes on and on.
Well, you live a life, man. I don't know. That's a dream. And now that we talk about the traveling being a dream, how about traveling all around the world? When somebody says, I want to be a world traveler, is that possible in a lifetime, you think?
I mean, to see the whole world?
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's people that have been to every country,
So
You
that's
know,
what when they say that, that's what they kind of mean. They've been to every
probably.
country.
Yeah, because like I said, there's country counters, people that are just
I didn't
because
know
it's an easy thing to do. It's it's a
country counters. I
yeah,
didn't even
it's a bucket list. It's
got it.
something that there's so many countries, and I can tick them off a list. And I used to want to do that or get over 100 countries, whatever. But I want to say there's 192 countries, something like that. So I've got a lot more to go. But there's people that have been to every country, but no one's been
That's not the
everywhere.
whole. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you've just touched in a capital city or something. But I don't know if I mentioned to you, but I just wrote 3 books over the last year.
No, you didn't. Tell me.
Yeah, I wrote 3 books over the last year. Actually, this is it's all 3 books. This is a book bundle, so all 3 books are in this one volume now. But it's called The Mindful and Intentional Traveler, and I wrote this book because I wrote these books. There's 3 of them, and I got interested in this idea of mindful and intentional traveler. As I get older, I start to appreciate more slow travel. Again, doing a deeper dive and not trying to see everything or just touch on a lot of little things. I'd rather do a deeper dive into less things. And so what I mean by that is a lot of my trips now, we're spending the whole trip in 1, maybe 2 locations over the course of a week, 8 or 10 days. And we're doing that deeper dive. We pack and unpack once. We do a hub and spoke. So we base ourselves in one place and then we just go, for day trips around that area. So like in France, we'll visit the local villages and things like that. In Spain, we go to the local vineyards and places, restaurants and things like that. So doing a deeper dive. But this whole idea came from that first trip to Peru that I took many, many years ago. And we were a bunch of young boys from a high school here in Chicago, so all boys high school. And we got down there and we started to moan a little bit about we missed our mother's cooking and our own beds and our friends and family, typical teenagers. And one of the priests who was the leader of the trip, he said, guys, you have the most incredible opportunity to be in this place that's halfway around the world, to learn from these people. Be here now.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and those 3 words stuck with me all this time. So this be here now. So the idea behind the books is to get people to stop, look, listen, feel, touch, taste our surroundings, whether we're halfway around the world or in our own backyards, just to appreciate the here and now.
Oof.
These new digital devices, they are meant to take us away from where we are.
Yep, that's right.
We can search and we could be anywhere in the world in seconds. But what about the place we are? They're really bad for taking us away from where we are. And when we're traveling, we're paying a good money to be in a different place. Why do we want to be somewhere else?
That's right.
So I say set a timer for yourself every hour or 2 to remind yourself to be here now, to be present, to take in your surroundings. And the fact that I'm a travel photographer, photographers are the worst at this. And we go to these beautiful, I started to realize that I go to these amazing places. I come back with the receipts and the passport stamps and the pictures and stuff, but I saw the place through the viewfinder of a camera.
So you didn't even get to that experience. That
was I'm like, was I there mentally? So the first book I wrote is called 101 Tips for Developing Your Photographic Eye and More. And the last tip in the book is to put the camera down.
Ooh,
and
I like that.
Yeah. And I started thinking that should probably be the first tip in the book.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to put the camera down. And I always used to say travel photography is 2 words: spend as much time traveling as you are photographing
Mm.
and absorb the place with your mind's eye. So that's the idea behind these books.
Your
And
mind's eye.
I'm really excited about helping people to be more mindful and intentional when they travel to get more out of the place, whether it's the food and really tasting the food. Because I don't know about you, but I'm notorious for sitting in front of the TV, scrolling through my feed and watching TV, listening to a podcast while I'm eating, you know, and you can't do anything well.
Yeah.
So I'm always like trying to multitask and make the most out of things. Well, really, you're not doing anything well.
Not doing
So
anything. Yeah.
why do anything?
So, and I think that being mindful and being in the moment is a great lesson in life, right? Because we
No
let
doubt.
these experiences pass us by, and that's what we are. We're just our experiences and our decisions. So I like that. And how do they get the book? How do people that are listening get the book?
Yeah, so I'll give you a link to it if you want to put it in the show notes, but it's available on
I definitely
Amazon.
will.
People can go to Amazon.com. You can go to my website, continentaldrifter.co, and look for my books and merchandise and find them there. But yeah, they're under the name Continental Drifter as the author. So, but they're the Mindful and Intentional Traveler series. And I hope people get them. Please put in a review.
Yes, please.
And
that helps a writer big time. Please. Review doesn't cost you nothing to give. Just give it. You know what I mean?
That's
So
right.
you are really passionate about this traveling stuff. I mean, but do you think it comes from having that experience of seeing so many things? Like, how did you become so passionate about it? Everything you're doing is about it.
Yeah, it's funny because I always say that my mother taught me the best skill that I could ever have for being a photographer. And it rolls into travel, but that was to always be curious.
Curious.
I call it the ABCs of travel. Always be curious. And she, so as a photographer, you know, you have to be curious about things and, you know, interested in what things look like and how you can place them into the frame. But, you know, she was never a photographer at all, but that curiosity is, you know, and then to have the interest in photographing it and sharing that. So that was always a big thing. We go to these amazing places. We want to bring back the photos and the videos and show our friends and family where we were, what we saw, who we met. And so that's really fun to do. So that's kind of where it came from.
All right. And lastly, I need to know from, you know, someone that's been almost into a lot of places, is there any place that you still dream of visiting at one time, or any experience where in a place?
Yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, I've probably only been to 70 some countries. There's more than 100 more to go. A couple that I really have an interest in, and I've been to Tokyo, but I'd love to see more of Japan.
I want Japan. I want Japan.
I love Japanese food, and I love Asian food. So Japan, I would love to see other parts of Japan. Would be wonderful. Going on the safari will be a first time that I'm doing a safari, so that'll be really interesting. If you had asked me a couple of years ago, I had always said Colombia was high on my list, but I got there a couple of years ago and I brought a group back. So kind of did that one.
You've been all over the place, man. That is pretty cool. I'm telling you, I don't travel much. So when I meet someone that has, for me, it's very intriguing that you've seen so many different places, and it's wild.
Well, can I ask why you suppose you haven't traveled too much?
Well, I grew up in a really bad situation. I grew up in Washington Heights, New York, really poor, and became a single dad and struggled, then became homeless. So struggled a lot with that stuff. So it was never something that I was interested in, but I think it was more because I know it didn't serve my survival of what was going on.
Right.
So I started to learn how to, like you said, in the moment, wherever I am, that's my vacation spot. I find the the beauty in anything I see, but that was because I was surviving, right? I couldn't do anything else about it. I was trapped. And that kind of became in. I think I became scared of planes and because I didn't get on planes and stuff like that. So yeah. But now as I get older and things are different, I'm like, wow, it would be really cool to see some of these things, just to be that you're in a different place, a different culture, there's different laws, and that's another question. Are you never scared of breaking a law by mistake in these places? Like you show up and it's like you can't look down for 3 seconds and it's jail. You're never scared of that. I would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think in Singapore, if you can't spit on the ground or chew gum. I mean,
you can't chew gum.
Yeah, those are. I mean, famously, that it's probably still the same, but. Yeah, and who knows? That's something that we do potentially every day and never think about it. And then you go there and you whip out a pack of gum and you're arrested.
Go to jail like a big drug lord.
And then you spit it out and you get a double life sentence.
Life. You get life in prison. And so you do a lot of research. Obviously, before you take people, you do research to make sure you know the layout and what you can do and all of that. So that's pretty cool that you take people. So if I was with a group of people, right, and I kind of had an idea of an experience I wanted, is that something that a client could bring to you and says, this is kind of what I'm looking for. Can you build that?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot more custom tour design and especially to places that I've already been to that I have the contacts, the itineraries, I know the places. I've done trips. I did just put together a family of 5 to go to Japan, and they went to all over the country, but I'd only been to Tokyo. So I am doing that, but especially to places that I go to, Spain, Portugal, France, even Cuba, Antarctica, that I could put a trip together for you and your family or friends or organization. Wow. But I wouldn't be on the trip because I should point out that I'm on almost every one of my trips. So I'm the leader. I'm there. I'm making sure everything's right.
That is so cool.
The trips you see on my website, I'm on every one of those trips except for perhaps Antarctica, because that's a place that I can send people down and they will be taken care of, I know, from soup to nuts. But I do customize tours as well, yes.
All right. So how do they get in contact with you for that? So actually an idea is an organization, like you said, an organization putting something together for their team.
Yep. Yoga retreats, photography, camera clubs, any kind of travel club or, cooking group or something, wine tasting groups, things like that. That's what I do is I put together what I call special interest tours to these places where there's a theme to, wine tasting, food, language, photography, whatever it might be for your group. And then we build a trip around that idea.
Wow. So experiences. How does it feel that that's what you do for a living?
It's pretty great.
Experience is so important. So that's what you're giving to people.
Yeah, I love that I get to share the world with people and create these once in a lifetime experiences. And then I've got nothing but 5-star reviews for over the past 16 years. So I'm very proud of having created these wonderful trips for people and gotten amazing reviews and testimonials from my clients.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing so much and sharing your story. It was a lot of fun. You made me laugh. I needed it today for sure. So thank you for that. And if anybody, first of all, go get his book or leave a review. If you want to do one of these experiences, definitely talk to him. So what's the steps? So somebody would call you guys, you set up a meeting, and how does that work? What can they expect?
Yeah. So go to continentaldrifter.co. That's my website. And all my trips are listed there on the homepage or under tours. There's a drop down. You can even see custom tours there. And you can get all the information about pricing, itineraries, everything. You can always email me, Ralph@continentaldrifter.co if you have questions. get on a Zoom call with you, talk about it. You can learn about me, what I've done, see all the testimonials and things on the website. So everything is at continentaldrifter.co. The other thing I would mention is that I do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/continentaldrifter, where people can see a lot of the trips that I've done, activities that I've created videos around, and get a feel for me on the channel as well.
Nice. I love it. Well, thank you for joining me. I'll make sure I put all those links up there. Support my man over here. Have a great day, Ralph.
Thanks, Julio. I appreciate it. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Repeat after me. I am